Welcome to a special episode of Tricks of the Trademark with me, Erik Pelton. On this special episode, we're celebrating our 25th year as a boutique trademark law firm with 25 special episodes featuring 25 tips. Hopefully, I have conveyed in some of my other materials that the world of trademarks is vast and rich and deep. It is such a wealth of information that relates to protecting trademarks, which makes it a fairly steep learning curve to really become an expert in the world of trademarks. And I want to share today about 25 trademark rarities that don't come up all the time, but one needs to know about because they do come up and need to know how they might come up or what to do if they do come up. Dividing an application, for example, is a very useful tool in certain circumstances. Knowing how to hide the domicile address of an applicant, again, a very useful specific tool. How to properly produce specimens from the internet for an examiner is important. Knowing how design codes work, very important. Knowing what a request for reconsideration after a final office action is. Similarly, knowing about requesting an appeal and then asking for it to be remanded to the examiner is a tricky but valuable procedural tool when applicable. Knowing about consent agreements and how they work and when to seek them, extremely valuable in many circumstances. Knowing what acquired distinctiveness is and how it's demonstrated. Knowing what common control and interest is of a related registration or mark. Knowing what a certification mark is and how they work and why they're different from most other marks. Similarly, knowing how a geographical indicator mark works and knowing how a collective membership mark works. These are very specialized subsets within the world of trademarks, but important for when they come up. Knowing why surnames can get refused and what the standards are related to surname trademarks. Similarly, knowing what misdescriptiveness is as it relates to trademarks and why that can be an important concept. Knowing what bona fide intent to use is and how to document, it can be a very, very important tool in the world of trademarks. Similarly, knowing about the declaration signature and who has authority to sign it. On the one hand, simple concept. On the other hand, not so simple and fundamental to getting proper rights. Knowing when a petition to the commissioner might arise and when and how to file one. Knowing about a petition to revive and what the requirements and important timing deadlines are for a petition to revive an application. Knowing when joint ownership might apply and how that works as it relates to a trademark application. Knowing about prior registrations and claiming ownership to them and why that's important and how it's done. Consent of a living individual is an important tool when applicable in the application process, and knowing when that applies and how to get the proper statement in the record is very important and useful. Knowing what a special drawing for like a three-dimensional mark or trade dress or configuration that might include dotted lines and what those mean, again, a significant trademark tool, even though it's a rarity. Knowing about concurrent use really comes up only one in many, I think it's thousands, one in every several thousand registrations that relates to concurrent use. But when it comes up and when you see it, you have to know it and know what it means. Madrid Protocol, what that means, what it means about possible filing dates and priority dates and important deadlines. And related to that, what an effective filing date is when an application that's based on a foreign filing might have a special effective filing date and why that's a key concept. So these are 25 trademark things that aren't the most common 25 things that we talk about frequently when it relates to the trademark application and registration and protection. But they are 25 more things that, even though they're not as common, are very important concepts and useful, if not required, to know to effectively strategize a trademark portfolio, a trademark brand, and a trademark registration. If you've enjoyed this content, please make sure to follow us on social media or like and subscribe here. You've just listened to another episode of Tricks of the Trademark with me, Erik Pelton. For lots more episodes, videos, content, links, blog posts, and more, visit our website at www.erikpelton.com.